Okay, if you've been on this channel for a while, or even a short time, you probably have seen some things that may have shocked you. That's because I'm a bit of a weird guy. I get a kick off strange, unique cultural experiences, and I get even more of a kick sharing it with you guys here on YouTube. But because of that, YouTube often demonetizes my creations. Sometimes for a good reason, and sometimes not for a good reason. And so today, I thought I would showcase the top 5 demonetized video on my Fearless and Far channel. If you're ready, let's dive in. But first, the content which you're about to see may offend some viewers and will probably get demonetized again from YouTube. Thanks, YouTube. Let's go. Going way back in the time to 2011, when I was in Spain, and maybe this one it's because it looks like I'm eating human flesh on the thumbnail. It's La Tomatina, the world's biggest tomato flight, where 40,000 people crowd into a small little town square and whip ripe tomatoes at each other that's being dumped out of the back of dump trucks. So, demonetization sometimes is a bit hard to understand. This one is one of the ones I did fight and say, hey listen, I'm not a zombie taking a bite out of someone's jugular vein in this thumbnail, nor am I basking in the blood of 1,000 people, which might look like that if you don't know what tomatoes are. This is actually an innocent festival that happens in Spain every July. And actually, it's one of the crazy experiences of my life. The most dangerous thing that happens there is not so much the tomatoes, it's because you're crowded in these small European streets. They're beautiful, all covered with carved stone. But imagine shoving everyone so close together, and then dump trucks come down these same roads that are filled with people, and you basically get smushed. If you're not a big person, you become extremely claustrophobic. And I had to see a lot of people basically get crowd surfed out of there, which I think is probably even worse if you're claustrophobic, because they were freaking out because they had no space. Number 1 video that got demonetized that you might not expect was my La Tomatina video in 2011. Coming up next, and I don't even know why this one got demonetized, it's a little bit ridiculous, was the Vegetarian Festival. How could the Vegetarian Festival ever get demonetized? What's wrong with vegetables? Yeah, so it's not so much about vegetables and more about possession and extreme pain tolerance, which is probably why it got demonetized. The story, though, is actually quite interesting. A Chinese musical troupe from northern of the country came all the way down to the southern part of Thailand to play their music to help the people heal themselves, something like that. They got devastatingly ill down there, and no matter what they tried, no matter what medicine they tried, they could not get better. Then for some reason, they said, hey, you should wear white and you should eat vegetables, and then your situation will improve, your health will improve. And that's the story. So they did get healthier by wearing white and eating vegetables, but the vegetables have disappeared. You still wear white, but now you jam big metal sticks through your cheeks and whip your back with spikes, and I don't exactly know where it all came from, but all I do know is I have some really gross footage, and there's no surprise at all that it was demonetized. Coming up next is soup number 5. Listen, I love soup. I'm a soup guy. There's some delicious Thai soups. I love stew. I love clam chowder. And there's one soup in the Philippines. It's called soup number 5, or Remember Me soup, or RM soup, that got demonetized basically instantly. You might ask yourself, what in the world could make a soup get demonetized? A soup! And it's because it's penis. It's a penis soup. So this one's actually quite funny, and it's called Remember Me because it's supposed to be an aphrodisiac, and apparently you eat it and they will remember you after from your sexual performance, I'm assuming. I don't exactly know. And at some time in the past, it was the 5th soup on a menu, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and it got so famous that people would order soup number 5 because, hey, have some of that, go back to the bedroom and pow, you got some kids. And actually now it's not too hard to find in the Philippines. You look for RM stations, they're called, and you can get those big schlongs cut up, put in there, some testicles too, you stir it all up, you have a bite, and hey, actually it wasn't that bad. Apparently they say it's great for hangovers. I prefer a glass of water and some aspirin. This one is a beautiful story, and it's quite an older video, and if you haven't watched it yet, it's probably one of my favorites of all time. It is a place in Bali that most people overlook. And I'll go a brief crash course of the story. Apparently, 1,000 years ago, there was this smell that wafted across Bali. And if you were a traveler, you'd smell this sweet smell and you'd be like, wow, I've never smelled anything like that in my life. I have to follow that, just like Pepe Le Pew. And you would follow the smell to the edge of this lake. And in the middle of this lake, there was this island and there was a tree on this island. And all of the smell was coming from this one tree. But because it was such an attractive smell, all these travelers and vagabonds would just crowd on the edge of this lake trying to get to the tree to see how could it possibly smell so beautifully. And one of these travelers arrived at this lake and met a local girl. She was very beautiful. They fell in love, and the girl said, I will only marry you if you find a way to get rid of all of these vagabond travelers, these bums, these people just loitering next to my beautiful town. And he's like, I really love this girl. I gotta figure something out. Wait, I wonder if I put dead bodies underneath the tree, whether it'll cancel out the smell. And there you go. Light bulb. The Edison of Indonesia. Dead bodies laid open face underneath the tree. Only 11, specifically 11, cancel out the smell of the tree. So now to this day, the villagers in Trunyan, if they die in the appropriate way, which is married by natural causes, they get placed open face underneath the tree to cancel out its beautiful smell. This still happens. This is a real thing. And that video got so demonetized, so demonetized. I think it lasted about a month, which is about a month longer than I thought it was going to last. But yeah, exposed, half decomposed human bodies is not something YouTube advertisers want to see. That one was done quick. And the fifth is one of the most recent and the only one to get age restricted as well. I didn't even know age restricted was a thing, which literally is a death sentence for a YouTube video. If you get age restricted, it means like, listen, that means if you're not logged in to YouTube, you don't even see it. If you're under 18 on YouTube, which is most of YouTube, you don't see it. And so it's like, it's all the nails in the coffin. If a video gets age restricted, like barely anybody sees it. And that was can anybody guess? I'll give you a second. Botfly. It was the Botfly. It was the skin parasite I had right here. There's still a little scar. That was only about 3 months ago. That took about 3 days to get demonetized and about 2 more days after that to get age restricted. I was hoping, hey, I knew it was gonna get demonetized. Honestly, I was like, that's fine. I don't think Audi should have an advertisement before a skin parasite, you know what I mean? But age restricted I thought was a little bit extreme. So now it has 8,000 views. I expected it to do quite better, but honestly, I mean, come on. It was a worm living in my skin. And I get it, but come on, just dial it back to demonetize YouTube. Come on. It wasn't that bad, was it? Was it really that bad? My only regret with that video is wishing that I had a camera just follow me around and to be able to catch that first moment where Lexi and I peeled off the bandage and saw the thing go, and we were like, what? And we look at it again, and we lost our minds. I've never screamed like that in my life. We tried to grab the camera as soon as we could after, but I could not capture that moment when we realized that, oh, my little pimple actually was not a pimple. It was a semi-grown larva of a botfly squiggling around in my skin. There was a worm living in my skin, and that's the first time I think she'd seen anything like that. And while I've had other skin parasites before, that was definitely the most disgusting one I've ever had. So maybe rightfully demonetized, but rightfully age restricted? I don't exactly know. That was my top 5. My top 5 favorite anyway, but you'd be surprised which ones do get demonetized. So my Day of the Dead parade in Mexico City got demonetized. Maybe it's the word dead, maybe the fact that there was some paper mache skulls in there, but I didn't really think that video was that extreme. It was fun. Maybe it was just the word dead, but like, that was a party. That was a good video. Also the Toques game in Mexico City, where you grab the handles and you get electrically shocked. Demonetized. Why? Sometimes I wonder if YouTube has a giant hammer of demonetization and they see certain channels like mine and they go thwap, and they just always keep an eye on that guy in the corner to make sure he doesn't act up again. But guess what, YouTube? I'm not gonna change what I do. It's only gonna get worse. So you better get used to it. And I gotta find some new ways to make money. Because ad rev is not doing it. The future of making money with advertising is not the future of Fearless and Far. which is something I'm cool with. I would rather make edgy, different, slightly shocking content that's true to me and also is very new for you than go make a top 5 things to do at the beach video. That's not my style, and that's not your style either, right? So, my dragons, let me know which of these videos you feel was rightfully demonetized, wrongfully demonetized, and we'll have a discussion about this kind of stuff in the comments. Also, because of these issues with demonetization, I have had to find different ways to make this work. I freaking love sharing these things with you guys, but at the same time, the future of Fearless and Far is not going to be with ad revenue or brand opportunities, I've come to realize, because I don't think Coca-Cola is going to pay to have their advertisement play "Enjoy life" right before a decaying human body in the woods. One thing that I have found that I'm really enjoying and having a ton of fun with is Patreon, because with these crazy videos that you see, a lot of the most graphic footage I don't even want to think about putting in the YouTube video because it's just too much. I already suspect it's going to get demonetized. I'd rather not get completely banned off the platform completely. So I've been taking all these nuggets and gems and putting them on Patreon where it's not public. You do have to pay a little bit to see it, but you support the channel. All of the money goes to me so I can produce this content for you guys, help you fight your fears and show you some really fantastic stuff around the world. And there, the community, you can see these behind the scenes videos. You get all kinds of cool swag, all kinds of benefits to joining that group. It's an awesome group there in Patreon, and actually you can see them usually commenting with dragon emojis in the chats below. If you want to check it out and support the channel, it would mean so much to me, and I can keep filming this wild stuff for you guys. There's a link at the end, and there's also a link below in the description. Come join the dragons on Patreon. We're a fun crew. We like some weird stuff, but I mean, hey, you probably do too because you're watching to the very end of this video, so check out the community. Experiences over possessions. Keep soaring, my dragons, and I'll catch you in the next video. It might be a gross one. There's some pretty weird ones coming up. That's probably why you're here.